Baby boomer.
Let's say I'm a baby boomer, so that's baby boomer.
That
They're
real?
baby boomers.
Yeah.
Baby boomer. So we're what, 1946 to 64. So I mean, it's right there on the edge. But to argue over were little kids who had to stand in front of adults screaming and yelling at them. Which now here's the deal: Sonny and David Osmond, who he went to Terry Heights. Their experience was different. Because you can fill this room up with kids of all colors, and they're going to play. And you bring them back as adults, and they might segregate. But the kids are just going to play. So Sonny's experience was different from Veronica's, who was in junior high, and she went to Riding. So that's why at her enrollment, you see adults standing there screaming at her. And she told me that, girls slapped her.
Oh, God.
So her experience is different from Sonny's and David's. Because they were elementary, the kids just all played together.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So theirs wasn't, Sonny will tell you, he said, well, I really don't remember a whole lot.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, because he was little. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it went fine
Mm-hmm.
for the kids.
For the kids. So that experience in itself, from posting that picture, I have another young lady who used to be on the site. I eventually had to remove her because we were talking about a place where massage, you can come and share history. And then if there's something that was rational people and reasonable people will discuss the matter. And I'm not going to lash out at you. If we differ on opinion, I'm not going to call you names and all of that. But I would have people come to the page just to pick a fight. There's one guy. I would delete the post. And so I thought, okay.
You block people too on your page.
This is true. Well, one of the things I had happen, I would have black people would, I don't like profanity, and some people it's second nature to them, they type it too. So I'll delete it, and some folks I will then inbox them and say, hey, can you repost your comment without the profanity?
Nice.
So I had this one guy, and I graduated from Grissom High. I had this one guy tell me, and not just one occasion, but this one person who just always hounded me about being Uncle Tom, which he doesn't really know who Uncle Tom is, but he would call me that. So he would call me that. He's way off on his history. Yeah, he thinks it's that. To call me that. But he said, so Grissomite. He called me Grissomite. He said, so Grissomite, have you been so programmed to let white people say what they want to say on the page, but you monitor black people? Okay. So then he posted on his page, his personal page, that he had to delete the guy who runs the Huntsville Revisited page because he refuses to post African American history on Huntsville Revisited. So he gets this long, see, some people won't even research. No. So he gets this long thing on his page. How could he do that? And then on the flip side of that, I'll get someone who says, why do you only post black history? Is that a black page?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, when you get a lot of human beings involved, things go crazy.
Right. So I thought, I only post black history, and I only let white people say what they want to say. So I thought, well, I must be doing it right.
Yeah, there you go.
So this guy, he put me on blast on there, and one of his cousins, who's a friend of mine, liked on the comment. And I really don't get into likes and all this, but I inboxed him. I said, hey, I noticed you liked so-and-so's comment about such and such. I said, what about that comment did you like? He said, oh, I didn't even read what he posted. He said if a relative of mine posts something, he just likes it. Yeah. He said, oh, I didn't even read what he said. And so after he read it, he said, oh, man. So he took the like away. But it just caught me off guard that, well, you like that comment? What was it about it that you...
Well, it's widely appreciated.
Well, I think,
regardless what the educators have to say.
I thank you. And then I'm introduced sometimes as a historian.
I call you an archivist.
I'm bad. I'm a guy who...
I love your photography. I don't want to...
Well, I'm a picture taker.
You're what?
Picture taker.
Oh, you're a photographer. But
I don't know all the aperture and the lighting and all of that. I just
They got 3 head shakes over here on the side.
I can compose a shot and get it.
That's the toughest part of the room.
It was unanimous though. That's true, because they know me.
Yeah.
No, they said.
They've
No,
been
that's,
sitting quietly for a while.
y'all want to tell them some horror stories of me and history or anything that they laugh at me. My wife and I were on our anniversary trip this year, and she just shook her head at me. We stopped because I wanted to stop at the Alabama-Tennessee border to take a picture of the Welcome to Alabama sign. or if we're traveling somewhere in the state of Alabama and there's a historic marker, and they'll look at me and they'll say, Dad wants to see what that sign says.
good for you.
So
We appreciate your attention.
it's second nature. I don't know why I'm wired like this. A lot of times I get emotional when I think of what my grandparents poured into me, and my mother, my great grands. But I'm a rich man because of what they have poured into me. I do this page not for any notoriety, not for any accolades. If I had one member, or if it was 0 and I'm the only one, I would still post it as I do because I just love it. And so there's no competition. And the thing about the written word, sometimes you can't understand the tone. I'm having fun when I post. Sometimes I respond to something and I thought, oh wow, I hope that doesn't come across as...
Like you're having fun.
Oh, I'm literally having fun with it. If someone makes a comment, I've got kind of a dry humor, so I'm having fun.
You're
So,
building community.
trying to build community as well. Letting folks come together, and I call you cousins and family. I mean it, you know.
I'm a sister.
You're my sister, and I have a literal cousin, blood. We share blood. His grandfather and my grandfather are brothers. A guy named Jim Donaldson.
Yeah.
We discovered each other on my page. He was talking one day about his grandfather, Otis Morris.
Mm-hmm.
So I commented on there. I said, hey, I have a great uncle, Otis Morris. And sent him, scan the obituary and sent it to him. He said, that's my granddaddy.
Oh my
I
God.
said, that's my granddaddy's brother. That I remember when we were kids, because both of them are deceased now. And they come from these large families, so you'll have one section who doesn't really get to hang that much. And this will be, I know, maybe short on
I got
time.
one question for you.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Okay, and so Jim and I discovered that we're third cousins through the page.
Nice. I bet a lot of that's happened that you're not aware of. I bet a lot of people have made connections
They
outside.
have other family members, lost friends, have made connections that way.
That's so
And
valuable.
So that is really exciting to me.
Am I
So-
not following your
So I just have so much fun with it. And as I stated, I just do it until I take my last breath. And that's why I'm pouring into them so that it can carry on. And in the year 2119, the folks who come over here to old TVX,
You're very optimistic.
they're sharing these, and they're showing Allison's video.
Remember when?
They're showing Allison's video. We can, appreciate. And one of my favorite songs is a song called Generations. And there's a lyric in the song that says, generations will reap what I sow. I can pass on a curse or a blessing to those I will never know.
Oh,
So I don't take it lightly what we do, the seeds that we sow. If we can just change one life for the better, make a moment in one person's life a little brighter, that's Huntsville Revisited. I call it the front porch experience. We just come and have my grandmama and mama and all of them, big mama and all of them. Man, they laugh till they cry on the front porch, sharing stories. So that's Huntsville.
Amen. Wow.
Got one question.
I do have one question. Take us out here with a story about your mom.
Any story? Or?
Well, tell us who she was.
My mother, Bessie Louise Irvin, E-R-V-I-N, was born in an area called the Green Flat in 1937 here in Huntsville. Today you know that area as Constellation. It's being developed there at Clinton.
Kind of.
It's been trying.
There's a hotel out there. There's a
Yeah,
hotel
so
out
we
there.
hear.
So as a little girl, that was her residence. There was a street called Blount, B-L-O-U-N-T, Blount Street, Blount Alley, because some of those street names changed. 1958, they changed to most of them to what they are known today. But she would walk from there on the railroad track that runs along by the post office over to Council School, where she went to school. So they moved from there to a street called Darwin, and my grandmother and my grandfather had divorced, and so they moved back in with my big mama and papa, my great grandparents, and they lived on Darwin Street, and that's where they lived. When that picture of my great granddaddy walking down Northside Square in his overalls with his lunch. Well, my mom quit school in 3rd grade, and she started working and helping my grandmother clean houses here in Huntsville, working for families like the Pearsalls, the Braggs, Mayor Davis's family. My mom worked for just a number of folks over here in Twickenham and Five Points. So just a hard worker, wise woman, hardworking woman. She shared one story. Again, we're talking about race relations. My mom is a very dark complexion woman. The Irvin side of our family were very dark. They came from West Africa, Cameroon and that area, Nigeria. So we did the DNA test. She was 98%. She only had 1% England, European, and then 1% Germanic. I think that's how it's pronounced. Everything else was from a dark race. So she was dark, and she shared. And then so my grandfather, her father George, was dark complexion. They share a story. Again, I was curious, always asking questions. She shared a story with me. My grandfather would laugh till he cried, on up until I was in my 20s. He died when I was in my 20s. When I was 4 years old, he would come, and on Saturday mornings, my mom would always fix him coffee and make him eggs and toast. And he lived out here in Chase, Alabama, and would come to our house down in Farley. And every Saturday morning, then I would go out to his farm and slop the hogs and all of that. Back to my mom. So he would she would pour him a cup of black coffee. He drank it black, no sugar, no cream. She put a little cream in hers. So I'm there at the table, and they would be carrying on conversation and all. And little 4-year-old William Henry would be at the table and just enjoying the conversation, taking it all in. And that was the only time I would get to drink coffee. But they would pour full cup of milk and a little coffee. So I guess I had like a cappuccino back then. So my grandfather said to me, this happened through, week after week after week. That would be repeated. I'd get my coffee, she would pour him that cup of black coffee. Now they're dark complexion. So one day he said, "Boy, you drinking that coffee is gonna make you black."
Oh.
And he shared the story. I'm 4 years old. So I looked at him, I looked at her, and said, "Is that what made you and Mama so black?"
Yes.
4 years old.
Yes, yes.
So they share that story. And then another one, she said, "I wasn't bad. I was just curious and mischievous. And I love to explore and do things around the house." She's trying to clean up. So she shared another story. I'm a little boy. And she had gone to my grandmother Lucille. I talk about her a lot on the page, and many pictures of her there. So she said, "Mama, William Henry is just so active and mischievous. What can I do?" And she said, and they call my mom sister. She said, "Well, sister, why don't you tie him up to the bedpost? You know, to keep him still while you're trying to work. So she tied me up to the bedpost, to the foot. You know, I guess y'all might call that child abuse today. she tied me up and finished her housework. Got the cooking done, got the housework done. So she came back in and untied me, and she says that I said, "Mama, that was fun. Will you tie me up again?" So she went to my grandmother and she says, "Mama, that just didn't work. He enjoyed it."
He liked it.
She says, "Well, sister, lock him in the bathroom."
Oh.
Y'all know that. You already know it. So she heard water coming on in the bathtub. I'm playing around and stuff. And she came in there and said, "Mama, this is fun." But my mom loved to laugh. She was an incredible cook. Oh my goodness, could she cook? We were so poor. I was sharing with someone, the first time I ever got to eat Captain Crunch was in the home of one of the ladies that she kept house for. No, we didn't get that. We got cornflakes.
Sure.
We got, just regular oatmeal. We didn't get all the frills. But my mom knew how to make fudge. She knew how to make syrup. She could make candy. That woman, oh my goodness. And I learned a lot from her, but I didn't learn how to make candy. Like fudge, and she could make hard candy, like lollipops. We were so poor. Kids laughed at me. We didn't get Kool-Aid a lot of times, so, but you get a lollipop. I would take 2 or 3 of them and get them in a glass of water.
Kool-Aid.
I tried today I guess you would call that, we put a little lemon flavor in it.
Sure.
Too poor for Kool-Aid. Poor.
Yeah, we were pretty poor, but we got what they call commodities.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got commodities, and so you would go have a day out of school that you would go and get these government supplies. Now the cheese, oh my goodness, that stuff is legendary.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Huge brick
the big piece of cheese.
Yeah.
And here's the deal: the kids are funny because we're all poor.
Right.
We're at school, everybody's poor, and you'd see other kids in line because the line would be wrapped around the building where you go to collect it, and kids would say, "I know why you were out of school yesterday. Why? Y'all were down there getting commodities." "No, we weren't."
Oh, no.
It's like, how'd you know? I saw you. So y'all get them too. You
Yeah.
know? So we're going poor person calling another poor, but we were embarrassed. But my mom endured a lot. She started smoking at age 14. And she didn't get lung cancer, but it affected her vascular system. So the tar nicotine clogged up her veins and arteries, and so she lost both legs over the course of the last 5 years. And so her health just started deteriorating. So within the last 3 months, it just spiraled down. And on the 30th of October, she took her final breath here. And so I was fortunate to be with her when she died, sitting at her bedside along with my younger sister. And I thought about it, it's surreal that, where she was there with me when I took my first breath, and I was there with her, and she took her last. So her legacy will live through me.
Good.
And trying to right some of the wrongs. I was telling you about her complexion. She shared a story with me when she was a little girl, about 6 or 7. She had gone with my grandmother downtown to shop. And they were in this store, and she saw this beautiful magazine with little girls and pretty dresses. And, she wore the dresses made out of the old flowers. And all of those. So she had to wear those kind of dresses. So she's looking at this magazine, and she said the gentleman came up. She said this man came up. I don't know if he's the owner or manager or whatever, but told her to get her nasty black hands off that book and put it back on the shelf. And I thought, well, those nasty black hands went on to raise their children and cook and clean and that kind of thing. So, and she was never bitter. My grandparents, my great-grandfather, who was born in 1862, they were never bitter. Never heard them say harsh words. They told us to do the right thing, be honest, work hard. They were never bitter.
even though they were treated horribly in some of the stories they shared. Horrible. And that's not an indictment against anyone who's alive today. But to endure and be good people. And so that's Huntsville Revisited.
Gosh, Willie, what a story, man.
Man, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for
Yeah.